Please refer to the video description below to access the reflection questions and leadership considerations related to this microlearning. Welcome! In this video from the Compassion Resilience series for schools, we'll learn about compassionate boundaries. Establishing and upholding boundaries is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and preserving our mental and emotional well-being. It can feel uncomfortable at first to voice our preferences, especially in a professional setting, but it's one of the most respectful and effective ways to create healthy work relationships. Setting boundaries can also help reduce stress, prevent compassion fatigue, and lead to a more fulfilling and sustainable work life. It's not just about protecting our time, but also about safeguarding our energy, focus, emotional health, and working relationships. Let's take a look at tips for setting compassionate boundaries. Know what you want to say yes to. Boundaries are not just about saying no to things you don't want. Setting compassionate boundaries starts with being clear about and saying yes to what you value, need, and want in your life. When you have a strong sense of what aligns with your well-being, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't serve you or compromise your values. Be proactive. Preventing boundary issues before they arise can save a lot of frustration. Whether it's communicating your availability, prioritizing tasks, or need for a meal break, being explicit about what works for you helps ensure that all parties are on the same page from the start. Just say it. Simple language can be both kind and firm. One common challenge in the workplace is the assumption that others can understand your needs without communicating them. You might think that your colleagues or leaders can tell from your body language or past behavior what you need or prefer. But the reality is that no one can read your mind. It may be tempting to present things in a way that makes it seem more positive or pleasant than it really is, or avoid the tough conversations. Being clear and direct is more compassionate and helps prevent misunderstandings. Reinforce in the moment. When a boundary is crossed, addressing it immediately, or shortly thereafter, keeps things from building up over time. People may not realize they've overstepped, so reinforcing it gently but firmly keeps things on track. Give specific explanations. Offering a reason for your boundary helps the other person understand where you're coming from, which can soften the impact. It's also helpful to work together to find a solution that respects both your needs. Back it up with action. Setting a boundary isn't enough, you must follow through with it. If you constantly bend, people may start to feel like the boundary isn't important, making it harder to maintain in the future. Remember your locus of control. Boundaries aren't about being perfect, they're about knowing what you can control and how to manage your energy. When you want to say yes to something, you can focus on what is within your control and work within those limits. In situations where you feel overwhelmed or have to say yes when you'd rather say no, it can be helpful to think about the areas where you do have power. For example, if you're asked to take on an additional task at work, you may not be able to say no entirely, but maybe you can set a limit around when you'll be able to do it, how much time you can dedicate to it, or ask for help in prioritizing your workload. Let's take a moment to reflect on the following. What values are most important to you when it comes to setting boundaries? Which tip resonates with you? When you want to set a boundary but feel like you can't, what can you do to minimize the impact this has on your well-being? Let's pause to reflect. Let's take a moment to reflect on the connection between boundaries and resentment. Research professor and author Brené Brown shares that compassionate people ask for what they need. They say no when they need to, and when they say yes, they mean it. They're compassionate because their boundaries keep them out of resentment. After reflecting on the connection between boundaries and resentment, what might you need to say no to in order to support your yes and keep you out of a place of resentment? Let's pause to reflect. Compassionate boundaries are about protecting ourselves and fostering healthier relationships. Ultimately, setting and maintaining boundaries is an act of self-care. It fosters respect, ensures our needs are met, and helps to create healthier, more balanced relationships in every part of our lives. Thank you for attending the Compassionate Boundaries session in the Compassion Resilience series.